Good. Okay, thank you very much. Do you have anything to bring forward, or should we ask our questions?
No, I'm here for the questions, as much more information would come through with that.
Yes. Okay, so we had kind of categorized certain of the information. We had a question about spirit animals and if this is real and if people have them and what is the purpose of that?
A lot of different manifestations are real. Spirit animals are aspects of oneself where they have been those physical animals. This is where they can channel in that energy again. So let us say for Natasha, she has got a stag from her earth side. This is not that she was once a stag, but the energy that sparks through her has a stag-like energy. Therefore, when others can look at her or look at this energy, they can perceive this animal. Most have been those animals, as one has to transcend through different aspects of the earth before coming to the planet. However, all the new souls and those who come to help have not necessarily been through these transitions.
Okay, and what's the purpose of us having these? Is that should we harness that energy? How does it work?
It is for oneself to figure out. This is some need them, some do not. Some might not be strong enough to connect to their true selves almost instantaneously. Therefore, they can draw from these animals, or they could use these animal-like qualities to help them in situations.
Yes. Okay, and is there anything else about spirit animals?
Spirit animals have a different concept that one would think. Some of them are not even earthly animals. Some have animals from different dimensional spaces or different time periods.
Okay. Okay, and what about, it seems like there's a lot of flooding going on, weather patterns changing. Is this part of Gaia purging or are our weather patterns actually changing?
Weather patterns are changing as everything is changing on this planet. Everything is shifting now. It is due to the new change, the new earth. This is what is happening. As one will see, these areas where it is more windy, cold, as where we would say a gullus, this is going to change. Almost instantaneously, the weather is going to change to more tropical. But this is not happening at this time. Other areas are first being affected of the world. This is because of the energies of the pyramid. It is changing the cycle in which the energy has been stimulating, which is changing the patterns.
Okay, so you're saying this is kind of with the Gaia's.
As one would say, the planet was going in this type of spiral. It was going clockwise. It was turning. It was creating a pattern. Now, with the change of the energy, it is reversing. It is now not going outside of itself anymore. It is going within itself, which has changed the pattern. So we are going back in the spiral and the loop. And this is what is changing all of the frequencies.
Yes. Okay, is there anything we should know about all these weather patterns changing? Anything else we need to know to prepare ourselves? Is it something that we should?
Some will see some devastation. We will not lie about this. But some will not. There is not much to prepare. It is just to prepare one's mindset. As Wind was saying, if one can connect to the heart, if one can go back to one's true self, your true connection will tell you where to go and what to do. Do not listen to others at this time. Do not listen to the news. Do not listen to what is going on outside in this world, as we can say. Some of it is lies. Most of it is lies. This is to create a false perception on what is happening on the planet, so one does not move. Because if one has fear and one is scared about what is going to happen, one is not going to move close to one's pyramid.
Okay. But you're also saying that there's kind of internal pyramid, isn't there?
Yes.
How does that look like in the body?
There is a second chakra in the heart. It is more centered towards the left.
Okay, so you're saying there's like a pyramid in the heart.
It is not a pyramid, we would say more dome-like shaped. But it is a dome that has a slight shape of a pyramid. But back when the earth was still dense, it was more spiked. Now it is starting to change because of the energy. As one would say, it was moving from this type of structure with the density and the forms. This is why one could not connect to the true self immediately. This is why the energy was extremely dense and one had to go through kundalinis and chakras. But now that it's opening, it is creating a type of a vortex where the energy does not pivot and stop. The energy just keeps a flowing movement which connects you to all at the same time.
Yes.
So think of the pyramid, but with all the edges more round. So it becomes a pyramid-like dome and eventually a circle, the circle of life, the circle of source. It will complete itself.
Yes. Is that kind of these images I've been drawing, and I think Natasha was also drawing it about this kind of toroidal field that goes around the human body from the heart, the
Yes,
eight shape figure of eight or infinity.
yes, as it moves.
Yes.
Each moves in their own direction. This is creating the balance. It is the eight.
Yes. Would you like to talk more about that? I know people. I've been using the kind of when the money goes out, it comes back in. I use it in like, monetary things. How
The
can people work with that energy?
The eight is the yin and the yang. The eight is the positive and the negative. As we say, do not label these. We do not like to talk of this only because of the labels that we have to use to explain it. Many people will go and physically take from that label. This is where the miscommunication comes from. So it is to create one space to say that if this is where one would perceive a more positive, this is where one would perceive more a negative. But we do not want to explain it as such. So we would explain it in a way of the vessel. On this side of the vessel's body, the vein lining shall be blue. This is the deoxygenated blood. This is the cleaning and the filtering system. On this side, this is the red. This is the oxygenated. This is the feeding. Is one more better than the other? They need to work together to create the whole inside of the vessel. However, the draining needs to be on par. The draining system needs to work because if it cannot drain out and help, it cannot give new to feed. This is how the systems work together. It is a flow of movement. They continuously move within each other. This is what it is. It is little strings and little weaves. As they come together, they sew and paint a picture. Now, this is the balance. This is the eight. The one flows out and the other flows in. And this is what creates the vortex, the dimensional space. Because as one flows out and the other flows in, it pulls the matter together, which can create a physical. This can also help for manifestations. So it is not to fight the current, as we would say, it is to learn to work with it. You can label it whatever you like. It is just to understand the concept of what it is and to use it to the benefit that you desire.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of like whatever you put out, you get back in, back
Yes.
again. Okay. Okay, and there's some channelings or some kind of information talking about another worldwide shutdown or lockdown regarding MERS, fungus, viral. I'm not sure. Is there any truth to this?
This is not how one perceives it, but this is a way that we can explain. And we want many to digest this information properly. We want many to now sit, take a deep breath, and exhale and receive this energy as intended. There is not going to be a mass devastation unless there is a frequency that you desire and you will be on that base. But what will happen is there needs to be sections that need to be sanctioned off. How we can explain this is, let's take South Africa. Let's take this space. As we can only talk about this space that Natasha is in because we are fully experiencing this. This is where we have the most truth. It is about talking about this space. This country, this area is going to start to be shut off from the rest of the world. This is what it is going to be. The import and export is getting too expensive. Eventually, those in this country will not be able to afford most of the items. This is going to force these people to go back to their native strive, to be as they once were, self-sufficient. They were once independent from the rest of the world, and many countries can also be independent from the rest of the world with technology, not just within the vessel, but with on this planet, the knowledge that has been given, things can happen. Like let's take for an example, a barren land where nothing can grow. There are different systems, different things, different ways that you can create life to grow there. It is no longer like in the old days where it is just the land itself. The soil can be manipulated for the good. One can start to strive for themselves. This is what it's about. It is about communities now. The communities need to come together and create their own collective where they look after the oneself. We would say South Africa cannot look after the European section as they are not together anymore. This is what it's about. South Africa can only look after itself and maybe those inside of Africa because it is closer, it is an easier form, it is for self-sufficientness. So all these things, all these materials that many have become addicted to will no longer be here. Let's say, for example, stuff like these fizzy drinks and all of these foods, these chips, these things, these chemical bases will not be able to be transported here anymore. They would lose this. Many will be devastated about that because to them it is a big loss. But we do not understand this loss as that is not a true loss and that is actually a benefit. However, we will not judge on that aspect. We just state that this is not true loss. But all experience things different, as we can see. It is now to get back to growing one's own food, getting one's own thing, becoming one with the planet. If you do not grow your own food, you will not respect it. How much waste does it happen? Let's take with Natasha. She has gotten into so much trouble, if we can say, from me, from the earth, because she buys a lot of vegetables and fruits, and then she does not juice them, and she throws them away. These poor things have grown just to be experienced by her. She does not understand that concept fully. This, we would say, piece of celery knew when it started growing that one day Natasha would buy that exact piece of celery, and that energy knew that she would drink and absorb it, and that energy would help heal and upgrade her vessel. But when she buys it and she throws it away, she denied that experience for that item, for that thing. This is not now in a negative sense where she would build karma or get into a lot of trouble, but it is when you do not understand the finer things and the beauty in everything and how it is orchestrated, it can hurt another energy's feelings. This is how it works. This is why many plants do not want to grow on this planet anymore because we are not enjoying them. This is why many lands get barren. This is why the fruits and vegetables don't taste the same. Many say it is due to the seed manipulation, which has much truth to that. However, if one can take that seed, look at it, and set the intent and say, I will always eat from you and give you the most respect so that your love and light can shine in this dimensional space. And every time that plant gives off its fruits or vegetables and you ingest it, you therefore create a pattern where it will keep reproducing because it feels loved.
Okay, so it's almost like the seed and the plant and the fruit and the vegetable needs to be loved by
Exactly.
the farmer.
And this is what has happened on this planet, even with the animals being consumed. This is why we do say to stop eating animals. It is not that eating animals is the problematic side of this. It is just that one has lost one's care. Look at those animals. They are not being treated with love and respect. Just being there, being fed with all sorts of things just to be consumed. Where is the respect in the energy? If you had to be that chicken or that cattle, where is the love and respect for you? But if one has one's own farm, one feeds one's own cattle and one's own chickens and uses those produce, then the love and intent that gets set into those frequencies will benefit the vessel. That is what it is about.
Okay.
Yes, there are many who cannot eat these substances because they stem from different groups. But it is, where is the love on this planet? Anything that you consume, the love. Take it as a winemaker who loves making their wine and gives all of their love and attention to that will create a very good wine, which can benefit a lot of people with health, mentally, and also help just increase the good times for them. But where you get one who is creating it just to create money and not to care about those ones, their wine will be worse for the vessel. This is what it is about. What are you putting in? What experience? You need to go see what experience is being made. Many of these food items that many find so delicious, like let's take this one, these chips, these snacks. These are horrible. These have got small plastic linings inside of them. It is just the same as when one throws plastic on the earth and starts to kill the planet. This is what is happening. One is killing one's planet on the inside. This is why one needs to be conscious about what one puts in one's mouth. If one can say, I will not throw a plastic bottle into the ocean for the fish, why are you throwing a plastic bottle inside of your ocean and killing one's own internal fish?
What do you mean there's plastic inside these chips?
There are different types of materials and different things that are being laced into most of these products to save cost. This is why one would say to eat more unhealthy is cheaper, because they cut out a lot of things.
Okay.
This is why one needs to go do research, and this is not being hidden from the public. Many are just too lazy to go look at what is happening. This is what we have shown Natasha. Go and do research. Go and type in these big words at the back of these labels and go and see what they mean.
Okay.
It is small stuff. For example, formaldehyde is a very deadly. It is not a chemical that one wants to have an experience with. In most shampoo bases, there is 6 different forms of formaldehyde broken down into smaller quantities, therefore they can change the name. So when you look at the bottle, it will not say that name. It will change the perception of the name as what it is broken down to. But because one is taught to believe that if it is on the shelf, it is good for oneself, but one does not read the warning labels. This is what it is about. They do not do this and lie about it. They do it in plain sight. But one is too lazy to take into consideration about what one is putting into one's vessel. This is why the vessels are struggling.
Okay.
This is why we say that everyone must try to be clean. It is not about being a certain type or a certain being or following a certain group. This does not work for all. It is to find the cleanest option for oneself's being so oneself light can project through so oneself can teach you because one cannot teach the other. This needs to stop. Eyes on your own paper.
Okay. So it's just about having discernment about these products that we're ingesting or and putting it onto our bodies.
Yes, but it is also to stop, and this is what is going to happen. This is why I'm stressing on this point, because all of these places, these factories, these places that make these chemical based poisons are going to start to phase out, and many are going to see it as a loss and going to panic. Do not do this. Try to find something more locally based. Let's say, like in South Africa, instead of buying these shampoos that get made all over the world from different places, go and find ones that are made in South Africa, locally made. You would be surprised on your doorstep of how many people are creating and making products that are actually good for the vessel. Try to get more local based from whichever country you are. And if you cannot find something local, try to learn for yourself. These things could be very simple and easy.
Okay. Thank you. It seems people are also kind of very worried about the future and how to prepare for it. We always seem to be wanting to know more about kind of future projections.
Yes, this is true. This is a very big thing and this is going to happen. Look, we are not saying that there is not going to be a lot of change. Things are going to change very rapidly and very quickly. Everyone must be aware of this. It is just to know oneself. What do you need to sustain yourself? Many will go into panic as they think that they need these outer objects to control their lives and to create their frequency. But where you look at it as not as a loss, where you see it as a gain, as aha, all the bad stuff is being taken away and now only the good stuff for me can be here. It is just your perception of what's going to happen. A lot of food sources, a lot of things that many are so used to of the daily lives is going to stop. You are going to walk into the shops and you will not find it anymore. This is a given. However, we cannot state the timeline and when this is happening because it depends on each one's individual consciousness of which stream they are streaming in from.
Yeah. Is there any dominant timelines what we're kind of facing right now? Maybe 2 or 3 dominant timelines, kind of with these creative this instability on Earth right now, and what we need to prepare for.
What we can say is many are concerned and we get actually excited of this because many need to know where there is darkness means that there is somewhere a light that is causing the shadow.
Yes.
So now many are panicking about these internal and external battles that are happening on the planet. But we would want many to see this as a positive because a positive cannot be shown if a negative is not first placed because one would not look. We could not place the positive there as everybody doesn't look at it. This is what has been happening for many years. That is why it is happening in reverse. The spiral is changing. So now one is going within oneself. Now that the spiral is going in a different direction, you are going to see all the negative on the planet that has been here for years and what's already been happening, and that is going to shift one to connect back into the root. So it is actually a good thing. It is a good thing to see negative bases. When you see them, one must say yes, because now it is opportunity for change. It is not to dwell into them, because if you dwell into them, you will go with that reality base, and that will not be a nice experience. But however, if you really choose to have that one, you are allowed to do that.
Okay. And is there anything information about dominant timelines right now?
The dominant timeline is looking like it is setting. It is looking like that in this year, because of the high frequency energies, there is a lot of changes happening. We would advise those to start listening to the heart. This is what we are trying to say. The beacons are being lit. The call has gone out. You do not know which core area you need to go to unless you go into your heart and you find it. There are a lot of beings who are trying to manipulate this. And it is not because they are evil, but some are just that kind of base. Some had to play out that frequency. So they are going to cause discrepancies. They are going to play. Their job is to see if you really want it or not. This is what it is about. So if you do not go and connect to this heart-based frequency and figure out where you need to go, you will not go. That is also free willing choice. That is why we are trying to create this platform to teach one to go back to the native. When you go back into the native frequency, you will go, aha, I need to go to New Mexico, as this is where my energy is going to be the best received. Some will say, ooh, I need to move all the way to the New Atlantis. Some would say, I need to move further away from the New Atlantis because I will stream in energy there to help others. But you will not know this until you've gone into your core, because one cannot tell you. I cannot tell you. No one can tell you. Only you, because each one has chosen their own path. We need to stop with this outside sourcing of wanting to know the direction. We get that you want a guideline, but if you do not try and physically find it yourself, you will never find it, and one cannot tell you. We can only give you the route and say, walk on this pathway. Whether you're going to walk on it or not is your choice.
Okay. Yes, you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink. So we need to take
Exactly.
action and connect to self.
Exactly. If you are so concerned about what is going to happen, go ask yourself and you shall receive the answer. Yes, many will not connect immediately and instantaneously. We know this. That is why we are telling you to start the physical change, because many vessels cannot hold that vibration because their vessels are trying to sustain themselves as is. But if you go and take the load off of the vessel by giving it the right environment, by circulating this system that we were talking about, this eight, by creating this system over the vessel's energy, this is going to create a current. Many currents are blocked. This is why the vessels are struggling. When this current is open and it is flowing, the vessel can go, oh, I do not need to keep the colon going as it is doing it by itself. I can use this energy to manifest into talking to the one's true self and creating the connection. This is what it's about. You cannot expect yourself to run a race if you have not even trained for it. And it doesn't mean that one must sit for 5 hours a day and be disciplined. Even 3 minutes a day can change. This is the law of the universe. 3, 6, and 9. Create these opportunities for yourself. Create small things. Even if it is 3 times a week, it will create a huge difference. The energy is moving quickly. Where people would take 4 or 5 years to achieve a goal, many can do it in 2 or 3 weeks. The energy has changed. You do not need to comply to the old energies, to the old ways, to the old teachings. They were here for a reason, but we are not on the same planet anymore. So one does not need to dance in the moonlight and create all chakras to be balanced at the same time to connect to one's true self. One can just sit and say, true self, talk to me. Even if other chakras are blocked, the true self can still come out and connect. This is a perception from this block here. The chakras in the hands, the knees, and on the heart stream the most in. It is to connect to those and receive in. It will help the others convey and create the line that will stream one into this earth.
Okay. You said 369 is the law of the universe. What do you mean?
So this is what it happens is the changes of the frequencies connect into these shifts. So it is the easiest way to understand how it all trickles in together. 3, 6, and 9. It is just a multiple of each thing as it goes on. It is a mirror within a mirror. This is how it works. This is how it streams in. So if we take the energetical base, this is 1. This is where it started. The 2 is where it started to interact with itself and create shape. And in the 3 is where it became physical shape. This is how it works. This is why we talk about the third density as a physical. It is all these 3 stages together which create this form base. And now if you take it further and you transcend, you get the 6. And then you get the 9. It is just climbing higher and higher through the same perspective. This is how it all forms together. The molecules, the shapes, the frequency to create this physical plane. So therefore, if one uses the law of the universe, one can create structure within oneself. So one could heal things within 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. It depends on which perception you want to connect to.
And why are you using 3 as an example specifically and not 2 or 4?
Because it is the 3. It is the 3 things, the 3 aspects that come together and create this experience. This is what it's always been about. Even the pyramid shape, there is 3 corners. They may not be corners anymore as they are rounded, but there are 3 main aspects, 3 energy cycles. It is the source. The source broke off into 2 aspects, the feminine and the male, the light and the dark. It doesn't matter. They could be reversed. Do not stay stuck on the label. But first source had to split into these 2 aspects, which created a 3, which created the triangle. And these moved and started to create the vortex that brings in and out perceptions. So if one goes deeper into it, it could multiply, or it could go back down to the 0, go back down into the circle, into the shape. And then one could double it and mirror it back, which creates the 8. This is the maths of the universe. This is all just guidelines. Numbers are just showing you the pattern of the energy. That is all it is about.
Okay. Okay, can you please talk about sexual energy for manifestation?
I cannot give a lot of information on this. However, we would allow another to step through, which could be more accurate.
Yes.
This would be more the fire side,
Yes.
as that is where the passion lies.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, what would you like to know?
So we were just asking about how we can use sexual energy for manifestation.
The passion can drive through energy and it can move through anything. And the most passionate thing that can be inside of a being is the sexual energy. It is such an energy to want to create and to sustain life. It is the most beautiful aspect to keep the link going, to keep it flowing. Now, many would say that to please oneself is incorrect. However, one must learn to love itself, so we will not press too much into that matter. However, when this climax stage happens, the energetical shift changes, which projects out energy into a field. And whether one does not have the right field where it projects into, it can go to different places and one can lose that, and one has to build it up again. Sexual energy is the easiest energy to build up because by one sexual energy and thought can create such a big mass over the vessel. And one can store that into, as we could say, the tank for manifestation. This is why a lot of successful people on this planet use their sexual drive to throw it out. So that is why one does not climax, one changes that, and that energy needs to manifest out. So to create the intent on it. However, when one has a partner that you could share this mirror frequency into, that is the most ultimate goal because one can mirror that energy into the partner, into the divine masculine or feminine, depending on the partner, and it can bounce right back to you, which can create manifestation a lot easier. It is just the amount of energy you collect. When one feels sexual, one creates this mass and it grows. When one's trying to think about being happy, one creates blocks and cannot create a mass to grow. This is why sexual energy is the easiest, because also it holds a lot of bases. It holds a lot of knowledge. This is where reproduction happens, birth, energy, connection, different cycles. It is the most beautiful energy, if one could ask. However, many have labeled this to be a not so good energy, a nasty energy, or tried to break it down because many did not want those to know the power behind it, especially the feminine. The male energy does hold a lot with the masculine and to create the sexual energy. However, there we would say it is not that one is better than the other, but it would not hold as much energy as the feminine. The feminine creates life. The feminine creates a physical portal or gateway through the root chakra to bring in a new life and a new aspect with this. So if the feminine is connected properly into her root chakra, she could use that energy to feed all those around her. This is why many, 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 many moons ago, as we could say in our timelines as we jump, the feminine were the dominant. Before this became a male dominant planet. The males dominated it because they did not like the way the females controlled everything. The chiefs used to be the females, especially when
Mm.
the females go through their time of shedding. This blood holds such a high vibrational frequency that could make them strong. They could protect the tribes. They could do things. This is why the woman collective is so strong. This is why now it's the time of the feminine again. It is time of the mothers. Mothers always hold compassion. Maybe not all because of traumas that they have laced on, but the original concept of a mother is to love the one that comes out of them. This is why when women can create this dimensional space and use this manifestation, they will appreciate it. Now, it's not to say that men cannot do this. Men can do this when they tap into their feminine energy. But most men struggle with this because they are taught to not work with their feminine as then it would change them, which is not the truth.
Okay. So you're saying we need to use our set an intention and then we can harness this kind of very strong charge or power around the sexual energy for manifestation.
Of course, one can actually use the sexual energy to transmit love to oneself. This can upgrade some quite quickly by using the sexual charge and not acting on the sexual charge, but saying, this sexual energy that I feel, I'm giving it back to myself and love. This can also help upgrade a lot of things. It is all about perception.
Okay, and you're saying that can be done by yourself as well. It doesn't necessarily need to be with a partner, but if it's with a partner, it's amplified. The right
Yes.
partner.
It is about the intent and the frequency. Now, we are not saying that it is about doing the actual sexual action.
Mm.
This is what we say. Because if one touches oneself, it is not seen as taboo, as we could say, or in a way that is not seen hold highly from the higher dimensional planes. It is quite fascinating to see how one uses their own body as an instrument, which is a very interesting concept. However, it is when they create that orgasmic sexual release, it's like taking a bone arrow and shooting all of this energy that you've manifested and created into nothingness and then into a different dimensional space. And it just flows around and it doesn't hold anything. But if one can take it and, for example, say, this sexual energy, I'm not going to release it into the outside. I'm going to release it into my own vortex and absorb it. It can help your manifestations. But if one has a partner, this is why sex has been created. When you can take this bow and arrow and shoot it into your partner, it will shoot into them and shoot back into you. Therefore, it is never a loss.
Yes. Okay, very good. Is there anything else about sexual energy?
There's a lot that we could say on this subject. However, we do not think that this is the most important question to be dealing with in these times.
Yes. I suppose it's more like a curiosity.
Yes.
Is there anything that is more important that needs to be spoken about today?
There's a lot of things that is important to talk about, and we feel like there has been a lot that's already been said, but we know that there are many who do not understand this. So there's just a different aspect that we would like to create, a different type of a experience, if one could say. We would want to create a time where everyone who is watching this could be guided with us. So we are going to ask all to follow exactly what we are doing now and to feel as we are going to send you transmitting energy. If you start feeling the heat or the cold, do not get scared. This is your vessel just transcending the light. But we are going to breathe now. We want those to just breathe in this dimensional space. What it is going to do is it is going to go in through the nose. It is going to go into the mind. It is going to shift and change all that has been standing stagnant there. Move it through the body and collect everything that has been holding on inside of these vessels. And it is going to come out and create a vortex space where one could challenge one's mindset and upgrade. If one does not want to do this and one is not ready, we would advise you not to breathe with us. As for those who are going to do it, this could be quite intense if you do not deal with your shadows properly. Remember to love yourself in this moment. We are going to breathe onto a rhythm. This is what we want. And we want all those who are following these videos to breathe to this rhythm when they feel like they need to connect to the true self. It is just a mental aspect. This is not going to change the physical, but it's going to create an environment where the energy can help the mental. Does this make sense?
Yes, please. That sounds like a fabulous practice.
So what we're going to say, we are going to keep to the native frequency. We would want to think of it as a heartbeat, and we're thinking of it in a 3, as a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we are going to do it at a pace where it is going to come in, but it's going to come out through the mouth. So it will be just breathe in slow for those who might have not been able to handle the energy through that transition. For many, if you did not feel it as you should, you are not breathing deep enough. You want to feel it deep into the belly, but any start is good. As we would advise, many would set a timer on one's mobile or just energetically feel to do that pattern. When one starts feeling the tingling, do not get scared. Rather breathe everything out and bring yourself back if you feel like you're getting lightheaded. But this is a good pattern to start connecting to the heart frequency, as we are going to release more information shortly of how to physically go into the heart. And we are not going through the base chakra, we are coming through the sub chakra. This is a different one. This one is to come in and this one is to come out. This is where the misconception, and we understand many have been trying to meditate to come in and have been not so successful because they've been pushed out, and that is a natural reaction. We will be coming through the sub one. As we come in, we breathe, we align, we connect to true self, and we connect it out through the vortex and create our 8 as it starts to change. This is information that you and Natasha will start to bring through together. This is going to be exciting time for you both, because you both are going to learn all these things the exact same time, and that is going to create such a good energy, because when you learn and Natasha learns, the physical energy will be transmitted to everybody around you guys and who is watching, and they will learn and feel what you two feel.
Yes.
This is why it will happen like that. This is why we're not giving the information too far up front, because then when you start working with it, it is almost boring.
Yes. Yeah, it's small bites at a time, isn't it? Like you said, to make it
Exactly.
digestible. Yes, and to actually make it practical to be able to implement in your life. It's too much.
Exactly.
We would be overwhelmed.
Exactly. You two are going to create a guideline platform, and we want everybody to understand this. So all this that has been shared can be shared with the collective. We want you all to know that this is not something that you must take up and say, every morning and every night we will do this structure. Forget about this reality. Forget about this type of label that it must be done in a certain way. If you feel more comfortable in breathing, then do it as such. But start with the base so that you could feel where your comfortability is, and then create it your own. And this is what Natasha and Erica are going to bring in. They are going to give guidelines. They are not messiahs. Everyone is their own messiah. They are not going to be the gods who are going to teach you everything. And you are not gods who are going to teach others. We all are the gods teaching oneself, but they are going to give the guidelines so one can try to find the roadmap to oneself. And that is where the magic will happen. And that is where everyone will see their own 5D and actually become a part of their reality. Can you feel the warmth? Can you feel the love and the energy? That is one's own light yearning to be seen. Let us stop trying to be a part of these labels. This is why the earth is not transcended. But it is okay. Those have learned from those labels, which is good because now the energy is up, the fire is bright, the light is warm, the water is active, the earth is holding knowledge and fruit, and the wind is shaping and changing. This is now time because all are connected to all these elements. One might stream in more than the other, but we all are the same. And it is to connect to each aspect of oneself and feel that again. This is what it's about. Let us stop asking these silly questions about external things that don't matter. Why should you matter on the earth outside of you if you can't control the earth on the inside?
Yes, we got information in one of our previous channelings about 5D is the experience of the human who has ascended towards him or herself, which I thought was beautiful.
Exactly. It couldn't have been said more perfectly.
Yes, but there's always this some kind of very much overlapping between this channel using Natasha and Linalda, the other one I work with, 369. All of this information is overlapping. Why is that? What is the connection there?
The thing is, these are just different perspectives because there are going to be different people in the collective who are going to stream from both. There are some that's only going to absorb from the one and the other. That's why there's multiple things coming forth. As we would say, there are also different energies being streamed in through different people. We cannot speak for this other one, Linelda. We cannot speak for how pure her channel is because we do not speak with her higher self, with her true aspect. Only she could tell you this. We only know from where we are streaming from the dimensional space. We are on the 8th dimension. We are streaming in the information from that field. However, her true self could be from the 7th or the 9th or even the 6th and streaming in from that field. That is why the information is different. But those people who are connected to the same base field where she is going to absorb that information. And those who are on the same base as Natasha will absorb this information. The reason why we give different information through Natasha is because, as we would like to say, she likes to use this analogy and therefore we shall use it. Let's take a South African brand called Oros. This is the Oros. This is where it is. But through all the densities and dimensions and how everything has to trickle down into this reality base, as we would say, the structure is third density, not thought based, but the structure of the physical is a third base density area. Thus had to stream down, and it is more water being added, more water being added, and where you would look at it, it is orange colored water. So you do get the base, but there's a lot of water in between because there's a lot of structures that was filtered through. But where would we give to Natasha would be the pure Oros, bringing it down without the dilution. This is why through so many times there's misinformation because it's come from different dimensional planes, which does not mean it's incorrect, but it means that it can get lost in multiple perceptions. This is what many need to see. Multiple perceptions get filtered through as there's multiple dimensions. So not one is more important than the other, but it is to try and get the information back from the true spark source so one can connect to it and see which side is one going to perceive from which side one has tried to channel through, if this makes sense.
Yes, because I find a lot of this information is quite galactic as well, and we do work with the Galactic Federation of Light. And last
Yes.
time you said where we go one, we go all.
Yes, because that is what it is about. All of these beings, all of these channels, all of this information from all dimensional structures and planes are just trying to get everyone to remember the God spark within themselves. But they're giving it through different information because people are going to absorb things differently. We need to remember that it is things that once have been taught. We would use an example. Let us say your mother taught you that this color would be blue. Natasha's mother could teach her that that color is red. When you two look at the same color, you could fight and say, but this is blue, this is red. None of you are wrong. It is just a color. But it is what perception you taught about the color. That is what it is about. And it's also to be taught that others will see another color because that is why they are here. If we all wanted to see the same thing, we would be back at source and this planet would not be here.
Yes.
This is what it is about. So let's not try and find one to be right. It is to take from multiple and see what breadcrumbs create a meal for you to digest into your now moment so that your light can benefit the planet and everyone around you.
Yes, and it's just like you said with the ice cream analogy. Is it my thought or is it someone's thought that's been implanted onto me? It's about creating our own modalities,
Yes,
our
that
own
is what Wynne
philosophies.
said, and that is what it is about. It is about creating that space where one is comfortable enough with oneself to accept when others are comfortable with themselves in a different form, as they are learning that perspective for source and you are learning your own, and each is streaming the information back. That is how the collective works.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, any more information I would like to get from you?
No, there's nothing else that I'd like to give, but Water would like to sign off with something.
Yes. Can we just ask what else other work Natasha and I are going to be doing together?
This is what Water wants to come and talk
Of
about.
course. Okay. Let's talk about that.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hello.
Hi.
It has been a long time since you and I have spoken.
You weren't present today. That's right. It was the last
Yes,
time.
it is now to be back and to say hello, to greet your energy is too wonderful.
Yes. Thank you. Why is that?
Because your energy is just as warm as this one.
Okay.
And it is so nice to feel your pure intent and the love that you hold. And it's not to say that many don't hold it, but it is very rare in these times now for those who are doing things out of love and not for self gain. So we appreciate you and want to let you know that there's a lot of love for you.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate the recognition.
And this is why you and Natasha are going to do this, as you two are not trying to teach others on your perceptions and beliefs. As we are very aware that Natasha's beliefs stem quite differently from what has been shared today. Not meaning that she doesn't believe that, but it's because she has made false perceptions for herself, but that is how she learns.
Yes.
When she gets out of the session, she will know and you two will laugh about it. And that's what makes it beautiful. You two are willing to grow. And this is what people on this channel feel. Many are feeling my energy now as we speak. Many can feel your energy. Many can feel everything. And this is what makes it beautiful because they feel the pure intent. There is no fluff here, as Natasha would like to call it. There is no hidden agenda. There is no saying one rule or another. It is to teach, to remind, to give a free platform of information for those to understand what is happening. You and Natasha are going to start to travel to places and to physically teach and to physically gain knowledge and give it out to everyone. This is what is coming in the future. So many will be prepared. Many who follow this channel will meet you two in the physical, as there's things that they need to receive and you need to receive from them. Yes, energetically it could take place, but there's something so special when you are physically in the space and you can connect with that dimension, as it has been waiting for you to also come in and activate these areas.
Yes. And how will we do that? Will it be in hypnosis sense like that, or do we just need to be there and talk, or how does it work?
You two will transcend to a way where you two will be able to channel without having Natasha to be in a physical sense. She
Okay.
would be more awoke, as we would say, where she would look at you, but you would look in her eyes and know that it would be me or one of the others. They would present themselves, but we do not like using these elemental terms, but we do stem so close to these energies that it's easier for those who are watching to digest from them. So we will stay as such for now. Eventually, we shall merge and be just one, but all will be one. So this is something to not concern about at this moment. But eventually, you two will travel around and do these teachings. You will teach and help and educate others. This is what you will do. The excitement is already in the air. All the higher dimensions are watching you two and are quite excited about this, because you two are not just streaming from one record. There are higher dimensional records that have been sealed off for so long. The last time these records have been available was in the original Atlantis. And you two have permission to be part of the first energies to receive this information. This is what makes it so beautiful.
And were we present at the original Atlantis?
She was not, but you were.
What was I doing there?
You were one of the record keepers.
Okay.
You were one of the knowledge holders. As we could say, you were the library.
Yes, I've heard that information. Someone told me before that I was in the what do you call it, the Akashic record, and I
Yes,
was also working there. Yeah.
yes, you held so much light there and so much information. There are some things that you have locked. that you are only bringing forward now. And you are going to do that with the help of Natasha. She will create the energy frequency space in the area and the memories will come back to you. You
Yeah.
would start channeling yourself as well. It is going to be so much fun.
Yes. Yes, it does seem like I have an insatiable desire to get information and put the information out there. So that has to be something to do with the record keeping, right? And the,
Yes.
yeah.
And you are so adamant on giving the right information. This is why you are chosen for this. Many just want to give information, but you are a gatherer of knowledge. You are so pedantic about getting the right information. Even if it is said in the wrong context, you would immediately correct it. And this is why you have been chosen. All your lifetimes, all your time, you have wanted to give the purest and most beautiful form of energy. There's one library that you have desired to gain access to, and this is what you are going to do now. Oh, what a wonderful time.
Is that, are you talking about the Atlantean library?
Yes, but this is not an Atlantean library. This is a library of knowledge that they had access to. This is of a higher dimensional knowledge. This is the eighth dimensional library. It is so much more than one can think. Never on this planet has the eighth dimensional library been available.
Mm.
This is what it's about. Small pieces have trickled in, this is true, and many have got bite sized pieces, but even certain higher dimensional beings could not digest this information because it was not the time. But as this planet is changing, even the extraterrestrials are watching you two in awe as you get to be one of the first to get this information. This is such a beautiful time.
Yes, it sounds very exciting to get some new
Oh,
information.
yes,
Yes.
you too will be overwhelmed. And so, our advice would be to control the emotions and to control the intent. Because when the emotions start streaming in, it is going to be very fast. And you two are going to project out a lot. And it's to make sure that you hold the right intent and the right basis.
Yes. Okay. And how can we get that there quicker? It seems last time you were talking about that, it would be good to manifest that sooner rather than later.
The thing is to not get there at all. You two are already
Already there.
on way.
Okay.
Just keep staying in the moment. Everything is perfect.